Lord Tremendous here, and I got a battle report here for you. This is Game 3 of the Owl GT, a really good online tournament that I'm a part of. There's 3 more games after this. This is a 2,000-point battle, my Ogre Kingdoms versus my opponent's Beastmen. And I'm going to go over this again, I know, but this is really cool because this guy is the guy I ran into in round 1 of the SBot 2 tournament, which I did not do a whole bunch of battle reports on because I wasn't doing them again at the time. So I apologize. But it was really cool to run into this guy again. His list is very similar to the list that I faced in the SBot 2, which was another really, really cool online tournament. When they do the SBot 3, if you're interested, I highly recommend it. It's awesome. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was great to see this guy again and play against him again and see the evolved version of his Beastman list. So I'm excited to get in this one. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. Here's my list, and there's been no changes because it's a GT. I can't make any changes. So I have my Slaughtermaster at 390 points. He's my General, level 4 Wizard with Illusions. Got the Butcher's Cauldron, Grut Sickle, a Blood Cleaver, and the Potion of Strength. Then I've got a Hunter at 194 points. He's my Scout. He's got an additional hand weapon and a Harpoon Launcher, as well as the Armor of Silvered Steel, a Cathayan Jet Pendant, and he has the big name Longstrider. Last but not least is my Bruiser, Lord Tremendous, at 396 points. He's got a Thunder Tusk. He's my BSB. I gave him the Rampaging Manner, so he makes those charges. He's got the Armor Meteoric Iron, a Talisman of Protection, and the big name Death Cheater. In core, I have 2 Saber Tusks that have the Scout Special Rule that go with the Hunter, 20 Noblar Fighters, 3 Ogre Bulls Butt Naked, and 7 Iron Guts with full command, the Bull Standard, and Veteran. Rounding out my army is an Iron Blaster and 4 Mournfang Cavalry with Banner, Musician, the Cannibal Totem, Great Weapons, and Heavy Armor. So for Game 3, my opponent actually from round 1 of the SBot 2, which was awesome. This is a real good guy. Really had a great time when we played our first game back in the SBot. Yes, I did beat him in this one, and you're about to see if I'm able to repeat that wonderful feat of tactical genius. But his list is his Beastman list. It's actually very similar to the list that I faced in the SBot 2 when we first ran into each other. So this was exciting. It's definitely an evolved list, and it's very tough. So for starters, he's got his Doom Bull, who's his General. He's got Heavy Armor Shield, Great Weapon, the Bedazzling Helm, a Talisman of Protection, Gnarled Hide, and Gouge Tusks. You do not want to run into this guy in combat. Then he has his real General, I don't care what anybody says, the Great Bray Shaman, who's a level 4 Wizard with Elementalism. He's got the Lore Familiar, Rune of the True Beast, and a Crown of Horns. His Wargore is his BSB with the Vitriolic Banner. He's got a Heavy Armor Shield, the Spell Eater Axe, and Slug Skin. And then he's got a backup Bray Shaman, who's a level 2 Wizard with Elementalism, and the Hag Tree Fetish, because it's probably the coolest arcane item in the game. In core, he's got exactly 500 points, starting off with 9 Gore Herds with additional hand weapons, and they ambushed. Then he's got 3 Razor Gores because they're awesome. I don't know. If I played Beastman, I'd have a lot of these guys, I think. And then he's got a Death Star Brick, a 51 Ungores with full command and short bows. Guess where the BSB goes? In special, he's got 3 Dragon Ogres with heavy armor and great weapons. And then in rare, he's got 2 Gigantic Spawns of Chaos, both are Nurgle. Here's the terrain setup that we ended up with for this particular one, the Eternal Meadow. It sounds pleasant, doesn't it? No dangerous terrain, really. Everything is either woods, blocks line of sight, or difficult terrain, no dangerous terrain, so I'm not going to be able to use that to my advantage, which honestly isn't a huge advantage, but I'll take what I can get, you know. But a lot of woods, which block line of sight, which is really just going to help my opponent, and then some like ponds and a couple of leaf piles. They kind of look like farmland or something like that. Still, it's cool. I really like this part of the tournament because I like that they created terrain exactly for this, and it's a lot of fun to kind of mix it up. The scenario for this one was Chaos Rifts. Basically, you do that diagonal deployment. Not a huge fan of it, but I do understand, you know, it definitely does add some variety to otherwise mundane deployment thing. So I do respect it. I don't like the diagonals because it messes with my head, but that's not a reason for it to not be cool. And so basically, though, there's 3 chaos rifts in the center, shown by those little minor explosions in the center there. At the beginning of every turn, or round anyway, you roll to see which ones are active, and if they're active, everyone around it, every friend or foe, get +1 strength and +1 magic resistance. If it's shut off, it doesn't mean anything. And then starting on turn 3, at the end of each player turn, the person who controls it, and you control it by having the most friendly models or unit strength of all the friendly models within 8 inches of that particular active rift. If you have more, you control it, and if you control it at the end of your turn, basically you get 50 victory points. So very cool little scenario. I like having objectives on the table, and I'm going to show you how it goes. My spells for this one were Glittering Robes, Mind Razor, the Mirage, and Column of Crystal. My opponent ended up with Vile Tide and Summon Elemental Spirit for his level 2, and for his level 4, he got Plague of Rust, Earthen Ramparts, Wind Blast, and Travel Mystical Pathways. And here's deployment. And I gotta be honest, this is a really dynamic, cool-looking deployment. So for my part, my Bulls and my Iron Blast are on the bottom. I was kind of hoping that I could deal with his big Death Star brick by just kind of making him chasing me around the woods and stuff like that. I wasn't thinking about Travel Mystical Pathways. That's my fault. In the center, I've got my Iron Guts with my Slaughtermaster and my Noblars right behind him to work as batteries. And then on the further top right-ish area, I've got my Mournfang, my Bruiser, and my Hunter. The idea here is just take care of all of his auxiliary units that are on the top and then sweep down towards the Death Star. I don't really have a great way to deal with it. They're got magic res, they've got all the characters in there, and the shooting is incredibly dangerous. So my plan, though, is to just take care of the auxiliary units and then hopefully get into a position where I can combo charge into the Death Star and just overwhelm him with wounds. Yeah, his Doom Bowl's going to take a toll, but maybe I could sacrifice a unit champion or something. That was really the plan. You'll see how that works out. For my opponent's part, on our left, his right, starting with the Razor Gore, followed by his Death Star, and all of his characters are in there. A little bit further back towards the back left corner, there's his other Razor Gore, his Gore units, which aren't going to ambush because it really wasn't going to help him. And then he's got his Dragon Ogres, a Spawn, the other Razor Gore, and his last Spawn. So pretty straightforward deployment, and well, let's see how it goes. I actually got to go first. Here's top of turn 1 after movement. And now that I'm looking at it, I wish I was a bit more aggressive. But of course, this is with the benefit of hindsight. I know what's going to happen. But anyway, my Bruiser starts to go into the woods to just kind of get into charge range of the Spawn or whatever comes forward. I assume he's going to come forward. The Mournfang do move up a little bit more. I don't want to get triple charged by the Spawn, and the Dragon Ogres, the Mournfang, are tough, but they're not invincible. My Hunter stays put because he's just going to take a pot shot at the pig or at whatever, just because it'll be fun. The Iron Guts move up a little bit. I'm trying to draw a feint here. The Iron Guts, I'm trying to make it look like they're going after the Gore Herd, the big Death Star brick. That's not the case at all. I want him to come forward so that the Iron Guts can shift around, come forward, and really help deal with the auxiliary units in the top part of the map there. My Iron Blaster, I should have just moved him over to the right, but I just kind of angled him slightly. Not a big deal. I'm going to shoot at the Dragon Ogres in this turn anyway. And then the Bulls run around so that the Razor Gore can't come around the corner and threaten my Iron Blaster. That's really it for my movement. So this is encouraging. First spell I try to cast, I miscast 7. Which, I mean, not the worst miscast I could get, but man, that's bad. First spell miscast. Outstanding. And don't worry, I am able to wound my Slaughtermaster. Oh, man, come on. Not the way I wanted to start round 3, but it is what it is. And yes, I did get regen off thanks to the Cauldron. So rolling low does have its perks, I guess. That's all that happens in my turn, though. I do shoot and wound his Spawn, and he makes his regen save. So the Hunter was very disappointed. The Bruiser misses, and I really don't have any other shooting. Oh, the Cannonball, it overshot. So unfortunately, I am not able to do anything at all this turn, except hurt myself. So with that, we go to bottom of turn 1, and there's a little bit of movement, not as much as I was hoping for. He tries to bait my Mournfang with the Razor Gore, and I thought about it, but then I was like, I might be able to get over there. I was able to get the column crystal off just to kind of deter the dragon ogres. I want to pigeonhole them into the middle. I feel that's my best chance there. But I wasn't sure when it came to the bait at a Razor Gore. I just wasn't sure if the Mornfang, number one, were going to make it into the Dragon Ogres if they were to overrun, and how well that would work out for me, because I'd end up with probably both gigantic spawn into their flank, which would be really really bad. So I'm debating whether or not I'm going to take that bait here. For the most part, though, the Nurgle spawn just kind of reforms slightly with his role. The Dragon Ogres kind of do the same. The Gores come up, but they're really not going to do anything. And then on the left side there, the pig goes into the woods. The Gores just kind of touch the woods a little bit. They really want to shoot at my Iron Blaster. And for the most part, that's it for his movement. In his magic phase, I don't remember what he's trying to cast, but he miscasts. So there is some justice in the universe. And he miscasts 8. I'm able to dispel the spell with my Faded, which is nice, because I believe my Slaughtermaster's out of range. However, with an 8, he's done casting for this turn, which is a huge relief, because his casting is much more superior than mine. In the shooting phase, we look at the Gores and we're like, you know what? One guy can probably see the Iron Blaster, one or two. So he rolls the dice and he rolls poison. One of the shots is a poison shot. So it's like one or two shots that can see the Iron Blaster, right? And the son of a bitch, he poisons me. I got a 4-up, so it's a coin flip. Ah, it was tails. So yeah, my Iron Blaster catches a wound from the Gores. Oh man, I don't know which one fired the shot, but that guy should be promoted immediately. So with that, we go to top of 2, and my bulls move around to threaten the Razor Gore a little bit, and I move my Iron Blaster away from the Gores. I don't want him to get shot at or anything like that. And again, I'm not thinking of travel mystical pathways. I'm just thinking get the hell away from him. I honestly, ideally, would want to put my Iron Blaster into the woods. Yes, I know it'd be dangerous terrain. He's a heavy chariot, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. Putting him in there gives him a great line of fire. I probably should have done that in the beginning, but you know what? I'm not very good with the ogres yet. That's why I'm in this tournament. I want to get my butt kicked a whole lot. I want to make a whole bunch of mistakes so that I can learn and improve my list, because I love my fatty backs. In the center of the Iron Guts, the ruse is over. I'm not going to go after his Gore. I think he knew that. He's not a bad opponent at all. So the Iron Guts flip around and aim directly over at the Dragon Ogres. The hope is to get into their flank as soon as possible. The batteries follow suit. My Mornfang decide not to take the bait from the Razor Gore and move up slightly, just so that if he does charge me, he doesn't get his impact hits. The Bruiser moves up to threaten other stuff, and again, the Hunter stays still because I want to shoot at his gigantic spawn again, and hopefully he doesn't make his damn regen. That's it for my movement. In the shooting phase, my Iron Blaster has a choice shot into the Dragon Ogres. I hit all 3 of them. It's a perfect shot. Goes through all 3 of them. I only wound 2 because, of course, I'm going to roll a 1. And I end up doing about 5 wounds to him, which means I killed one and put a wound on another, which, when it comes to Dragon Ogres, I'll take it. That was a hell of a shot by the Iron Blaster. And then my Slaughtermaster, who, you know what? By the way, I did fail to drink from the cauldron, so he took another wound because, you know what? Bleeding from the eyes is the only way an ogre likes to fight. But anyway, in the magic phase, I do cast Mind Razor on the Dragon Ogres. They're the only thing in range, and I just thought, why not? I brought these Noblars to sacrifice them to the warp, and it worked. It was the lower, he passed his leadership check. It was the lower level one, but I actually got a wound through, so I put another one on the Dragon Ogres, which is great because that is a threatening unit right there, even with only 2 left. And then my Bruiser, with his Ogre pistol, takes a pot shot at the bait pig and actually wounds him, which was outstanding. I'm actually hitting and wounding really well for my range attacks. My Hunter shot, hit, and wounded his gigantic spawn again, and he made his regen save again. It's like, come on! You know what? It bothers me that I take these monsters when I played Warriors of Chaos or anything, and they never made their saves. I never got lucky like that. And I play other people, and they work as advertised. I don't know what I did to ruin my karma, but I probably deserve this. So that brings us to bottom of turn two, and yeah, this is where I realize I made a mistake. He used travel mystical pathways. That's why his gores are where they're at right now. He's got Earth and Ramparts on him, which isn't going to affect anything. I was like, oh yeah, that spell. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I admit it 100%. I did not compensate for that spell. But this shows a huge weakness in my army. That spell is very dangerous, and it's an excellent spell. I don't want to change. I don't want it removed. Don't get me wrong. And my opponent used it surgically. It was a beautiful use of the spell. It was tactical genius, and I'm impressed. But he positioned his gores where basically my Iron Blaster is going to take 50 shots, 51 shots from him. Yeah, it's pretty much screwed. And I realize that at this point, and it's like, oh no, I have zero answer for that. The rest of his stuff, his giant spawn on the top there made a shot at my hunter and just missed, which is good. The dragon ogres and the other spawn realize what I'm trying to do and come after me pretty immediately, which is good. I'm not too worried about it. My iron guts are really tough. I didn't get spectral doppelganger this go, but I think my Iron Guts will be able to take care of his spawn. So I'm kind of excited. I'm like, I'm going to charge. I'm going to get the spawn. I'm going to get the Dragon Ogres. I'm going to lose my Iron Blaster. I'm going to lose my Bulls. But so what? I'll have the majority. I'll have his auxiliary. And then I'll work on dealing with his gores with the rest of my army, which is honestly terrifying. So I'm okay with the way it's going at the moment. Yeah, so the rest of his stuff just kind of stays put. The one razor gore pig in the woods faces the bulls because he knows what's coming, and honestly, that's it for movement. Oh, this one was hard. I got outplayed here. Plain, simple, and to the point. My opponent outplayed me here, and very well done by him. Yeah, 51 shots. I think he wounded 16 times. It was like 11 poison, and then with the follow up, he was rolling just out of the box. If there was a box, he blew out the sides. Let me tell you. But yeah, he obliterated my Iron Blaster, and oh, it was hard because the Iron Blaster was set up for some really choice shooting. You bastard. So he tries to cast something with his big guy. I can't remember what it was, but he ends up miscasting 5, which is honestly kind of outstanding. I was pleased. A little bit of justice for my murdered Iron Blaster. And yes, the irony of deleted Iron Blaster on there is not lost on me. Don't. It's too soon. It's too soon. The 3-inch template gets thrown right on his wizard there. And as you can see, it's going to hit a couple of them and do like 7 partials, which is significant. In the end, though, not many of the partials actually hit, and only 2 of the gores end up dying. Or ungores, I'm sorry. I would have preferred a lot more, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. All right, so with that over, nothing else happens during his turn. We go to top of 3, and I make my move. We go all in. My Bruiser goes after the Razor Gore as well as the Mornfang, and in my opinion, I made a mistake here. I realize it way too late, but again, I'm playing this because I need to learn. I need to make mistakes. I need to screw up. Feel free to flame me in the comment section. You're not wrong. But yeah, by doing this, I realize way too late that I have screwed myself and I'm not going to be able to overrun like I need to. So I shouldn't have charged in with the Bruiser. I should have let the Mornfang do their thing. I made a mistake here. The Iron Guts go into the spawn, which was good. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to do that. I get to reroll my wounds for impact hits thanks to the Bull standard. I'm excited. I kind of sacrifice my Noblars. I don't have Spectral Doppelganger, so I'm not really worried about trying to get anything off right now. So I'm trying to bait the Gores. Like, if you want to kill my Noblars, go ahead. Nobody cares. I did charge the Bulls into his Razor Gore that was in the woods, and it fled, and it got away no problem. I did try to drink from the cauldron with my Slaughtermaster, who decided that boxcars was a good idea, the moron. So now he's sitting at 3 wounds, and he hasn't even seen combat yet. So he really needs to do something so I can heal with the cleaver, I believe, the blood cleaver. And then my hunter, he doesn't want anything to do with that spawn. The spawn would stomp him into oblivion. So I run away. It's just like, nope, we're out of here. So the spawn, he can chase me all he wants. He's proved that he grows back all the wounds I do to him. I'm getting the hell away. And yeah, that's really it for my movement. Yeah, so nothing happens in shooting. We go straight into combat, and my bruiser's impact hits are alone or enough to kill off the gore. And this is when I realized I screwed up. It was like, oh no, I'm not able to overrun far enough with my bruiser to get out of the way of the Mornfang. And so, yeah, we end up just stuck right here. I am devastated by how much of a mistake I made right here. I mean, it is what it is. I admit 100% I screwed myself here. It is what it is, and I'm just going to have to try to recover. This combat right here, though, this one right here, I did not predict. I flubbed. Not only did I flub, but I spectacularly failed to do anything. I was furious. My dice just fell apart. Impact hits with rerolls did nothing. I could not wound this guy. I attack with everything that I can. Yes, I got a lot of supporting attacks, but I still had, I think, 12 attacks, something ridiculous. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus the Slaughtermaster's attacks. One got through. One got through. That's it. That's it. I had a banner and I had close order. I literally, it's not that he made saves, because he didn't. I only wounded with needing 4s and 4s with over a dozen attacks. And I failed to do anything but one wound. Yeah, the one wound did get through. He, in turn, focuses on my Slaughtermaster and murders. He needed 5s. I got Glittering Robes off. I got Miasmic Mirage off on the Dragon Ogres. I was sitting pretty. There was nothing stopping me from just laying waste at his whole side of the table. My plan might have worked. And my dice said, hold my beer, or Zima, whatever. Fucking dice, man. So I lose my Slaughtermaster. I get obliterated in this combat. I think he's got 7-3, so he wins by 4. And by break. I do get away, but yeah, I mean, look how far away. I mean, I'm in perfect shooting range for his Ungor herd now. This couldn't have gone any worse. He needed 5s to hit me because of Glittering Robes, and he rolled 5s like it was the only number on the dice. I rolled like crap. He rolled out of the box. It is what it is. Can't predict that. Maybe I should have. But honestly, I could have. If I hadn't charged with my Bruiser, my Mornfang probably would have rolled high enough to slam into the flank of the spawn and taken care of this. I played poorly and I rolled poorly. And I deserve this. So that, here's bottom of turn 3 after movement. And yeah. So his gores really don't move a whole lot. They move a little bit with travel mystical pathways because I have no magic defense anymore, just to get in better range of my Iron Guts, who, yeah, he's going to obliterate. He gets Plague of Rust off on him, so they have no defense. His spawn and his Dragon Ogres move up. His spawn literally missed the Noblars by an inch, which was surprising. The Noblars did fail their panic check when the Iron Guts ran through them, but they were above 50%, so they fell back in good order. That's why they turned and looked that way. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. But yeah, my center, my core just collapsed, and I'm all tangled up. So this is so bad. Yeah, the rest of his stuff scrambles to make me pay for my insolence, and yeah, I'm gonna pay. So we go into a shooting phase, and the punishment begins. He fires all of his shots at me. I mean, he volley fires, basically. And yeah, takes me down to 4 Iron Guts, because any wound he gets through, I'm going to have to take. I believe his baby mage fires off Vile Tide, taking down another ogre all by himself. And then with Wind Blast, he takes out another one and pushes me into the woods. Man. Sometimes I just want to throttle the dice gods. I really do. And not that it really matters. It's like the last spell he's going to cast for the game. I think it was Summon Elemental Spirit. He miscast 9. So the portal doesn't go off. I am able to stop it with my Faded, and he can't cast anymore this turn. But he already cast everything he wanted to cast. The Spirit was just, why not? Oh, he's playing very well. I wish I was. So after ripping me apart, we go over here to top of 4, and no, my Iron Guts do not rally. They continue to flee. I don't blame them at this point. My Bruiser and my Mornfang untangle themselves from each other and move forward to try to be threatening a little bit. You'll see how that goes. The Hunter continues to flee from the gigantic spawn because it's terrifying, and that's really it. Nothing else happens. My Noblars throw a bunch of sharp stuff at the Dragon Ogres just because I think it's funny and don't do anything. That's all I can do. Everything else has collapsed. So here's bottom of four, and yeah, the Noblars make their final stand, and yeah, both the Spawn and the Dragon Ogres make it into him. They do stand and shoot. They do wound once, but he makes his armor save. Go figure. His other spawn tries to go after my Mornfang and fails miserably, but it doesn't matter. Look where the Gores are, or the Ungores are. They traveled mystical pathways again. All I could hope was that he didn't cast it. I tried to stop it with my Fated. I think he rolled a 13 or something like that, and he obviously is in perfect position to obliterate my Bruiser. My only hope is that the 5-up 5-up makes it possible for me to survive it, because he's not too far away. I was going to charge. I didn't care if I had one wound left. I know he was going to get the stand and shoot. It gives him all that. I was hoping against hope that he'd fail his terror check. It was like all I could hope is for a miracle at this point. I need him to fail his terror check, roll 2 inches for his flee, and then I run him down, because I do have the rampaging banner. I am taking the lower of the two because, as you can see, my corner is in the terrain, but hope is all I've got left. Okay. Oh man. But that's everything. It doesn't matter. That's it for movement. We go into shooting, and he fires all of his remaining shots. He doesn't even have 51 anymore. He's got like 49, and he wounds, I want to say, 15 times total. It's insane how well he's rolling. I think 11 of them were 6s for poison, and then he had a bunch of 5s, so he was able to wound some more, and I think it's like 15 wounds in total. So I roll my armor save, and I save enough where I actually rolled really well. There's 8 wounds left, and so I'm like, okay, he's got 8 wounds. I even say this to my opponent, well, there's 8 left. I got my 5-up ward. If I make just 1 or 2 of these, I'm okay. I roll 8 dice, and as you can see, I did not roll a single 5. I rolled 8 4 or less, and my Bruiser dies. God damn the dice gods. Oh, old and new, may the dice gods get syphilis. Oh man, this one hurt more than the Iron Blaster. This, of course, causes the Mornfang to panic, since it was panic from, what's it called? Unit destroyed within 6 or whatever, that's unit strength 5 or higher. They flee from the closest enemy unit, which was the spawn that was north of them. They fell back in good order because they're above 50%, and they end up right here. So it kind of helped me re-maneuver them a little bit, but I just keep taking these kicks to the gut, and some of it is 100% my fault. But you know what? My opponent is playing beautifully, and I can't even be upset because I was trying to do it to him. We go into combat, and yeah, the Noblar's last stand did not go well. What you may notice, though, is that they got 1 combat res because one of the little bastards did a wound to a Dragon Ogre. At this point, I'll take what victories I can get. The results were the Dragon Ogres came forward a little bit, and the spawn just kind of turned around to reform. Nothing crazy. So here we are, top of 5. I'm down. I'm not quite out yet, but I'm very close. My Mornfang charge and are able to make it into, it was a flank for the spawn, so maybe I can get a little bit of revenge. Let's see what happens. My Iron Guts do rally, and all I do is try to get them the hell away from the Dragon Ogres. I'm trying to save their points at this point. And the Hunter continues to flee. He doesn't run, he doesn't march this time, he just moves. He's got moved through cover, so it's no big deal. He's going to take a pot shot at stuff and try to gain me as many points as he can before the end of the game. And that's really it for my movement, because everything else is dead. Oh yeah, the bulls stay in the woods. Good for them. The Hunter, who has not failed to hit and wound this entire game, it's just things have been making saves, fires at the pig, wounds him, and ends up doing 2 wounds. It was, I needed 1 more, but you know what? That's hilarious. With that, we go into combat, and things go pretty well. I know it doesn't show it here, but I actually did 4 more wounds to him, bringing the total up to 5. Should have been more, but he was making his saves. There's nothing you can do about that. In return, he was able to kill one of the Mornfang outright, because I was not making my saves at all. In the end, though, I do end up winning by 3, 8-5. It doesn't really matter, though, because he's unbreakable. Since all he can do is give ground, and he's already touching the woods, as you can see in this picture, we don't move, and we just stay right here. With no other combats, here's bottom of turn 5 after movement, and his Dragon Ogres try to charge my Iron Guts and fail. They go about an inch, that's it. His Razor Gore on the left flank there rallies and turns back around to look at the Bulls. The Gores turn around, look at the Bulls, and go, oh, hi, target, which is going to be awesome. I don't know if they turn around or if he does travel mystical pathways again. Either way, he's going to shoot at my Bulls, and it is what it is. And honestly, everything else just kind of hangs out. The one Razor Gore runs away because it doesn't want to get shot off the table. And yeah, that's really it for movement. In the shooting phase with Vile Tide, Wind Blast, and what could shoot at the Bull. As you can see, there's one left carrying a wound. He fails his panic check, flees, and spoilers, he never rallies. So he survives. So yeah, glass half full kind of stuff. We go into combat, and I'm still here for meat and bones. We're able to finish off that spawn. The Dragon Ogres don't care because they're immune to psychology. We overrun into them, slamming into their flank, and hopefully be able to pick them up next turn. Here we are in top of 6. Like I said, my Bull doesn't rally. He flees off the table. The Iron Guts move further away because they're trying to save as many of their points as they can. The Hunter stays perfectly still because he's determined to put wounds onto that damn spawn. And that's it for my movement because everything else I have has been murdered. Unfortunately, my Hunter is not able to wound the spawn. Made his regen save again. I am really proud of him. He's made every shot and wound this game. Unfortunately, that spawn's regen save might as well be a 1-up with rerolls. So we go into combat, and yes, my Mornfang do what Mornfang do and obliterate both of them. So at least I'm not going to get goose-egged. The Mornfang are doing real well. I do restrain them, and I turn them to face the Gores, just in case you're feeling froggy about charging, but we all know that they're just going to turn and shoot at me. And that brings us to bottom of 6, which really just sees nothing move at all. The Gores are going to shoot at the Mornfang, and that's the smart move. This psychopath, it's up doing like 7 wounds to the Mornfang. Kills one, almost kills another. It is enough for a panic check. They do pass, so at least they're not fleeing because the Mornfang are built tough, but man, I am rolling terrible for my saves. But yeah, is what it is. So there it is. There's the end of the game, and I got my butt kicked in this one. Is what it is. My opponent played his army beautifully. He made a lot of really good decisions, and honestly, he was rolling average or better for his rolls, which is, when you're making all the right decisions, is just gonna reward those decisions. So this is exactly the way it should have played out. I made mistakes, I was rolling poorly, and my opponent capitalized on each and every one, which is exactly what I was trying to do to him. So while I'm not thrilled that it didn't work out for me, I don't begrudge my opponent at all. He was awesome the whole time. And you know what? If I have to lose to somebody, I'm glad it could be someone like this. Really cool guy. And little claim to fame on my end. When we first played, he did not have a Doom Bull in that Gore unit. And I suggested it after our game, and he did it. And he confirmed after this game that Doom Bull is in there because of what I suggested. So I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I made this list so much more difficult to deal. No, this is a wonderful game, and I'm really happy I got to run into this guy again and play against him, even though he took my lunch money. But you know what? I'm excited, so let's get into the recap right away. So this was a big loss for me, 4-16. He ended up getting 1588 for me, and I got 461 for him. Just, this all includes the plus 50 points we earned from controlling active objectives throughout the game. I think he got 150 points out of that, and I think I got like 50. So it was a 100-point shift. Wouldn't have really changed anything. My opponent got me, and damn the dice gods in this one. I was so positive that my Iron Guts had that spawn. It just made sense to me. 4s and 4s. I should be able to get 3. He's only got a 5-up regen. He's not going to get his armor. I should be able to win this combat, push him back, get into the Dragon Ogres. The Dragon Ogres had Miasmic Mirage on them, so they weren't even able to march, let alone charge. I had that, and the dice god said, hold my wine cooler, and just took it to me. yeah, I'm pissy about that. But that all being said, I was really stupid with my charge. The Bruiser blocking the Mournfang. Had I just charged into Mournfang, they probably, not guaranteed, but they probably would have been able to overrun into the side of the spawn, therefore solidifying the victory, and I didn't do that. So my stupid mistake and my terrible dice rolls really did earn me the collapse, and once my center went, I was struggling to catch up, and my opponent was very smart and did not give me the opportunity to do any of that. He played incredibly well. He earned this victory. I mean, I'd like to think I had a hand in it, but this was 100% his victory, and I don't fault him for any of it. It was a great game. Tough loss, and he's just an excellent opponent. This is not the guy you want to make these kind of mistakes with, because he's going to capitalize on them, rightfully so. Very much looking forward to our inevitable rematch, and I think pretty much now it's a tradition. Every online tournament, we have to play at least once. So, Gauntlet Thrones, sir. So this is pretty cool. This is actually the first Beastmen army I've run into since I've been doing battle reports again. So the Tithe has a new entry. It's not an impressive entry, but it's an entry, so I'll take it. Obviously, I didn't kill any of his characters, but I did get, well, he killed 3 of his Gore Herd, which we'll take. We are going to take it. I don't care. The Beastmen go back into the woods. The remaining ogres, all 5 of them, whatever it is, they need food. So they come and they get the food and they send the bones to King Hotep, because that's the deal. We did get one of the Razor Gores. There are porks on the menu, and everybody loves pork. In special, I did get to his 3 dragon ogres, and while tough, they are juicy. And then in rare, we got a gigantic spawn. It's a gigantic spawn of Nurgle, so we're going to have to cook it well done. But, you know, ogres are nothing but, well, gross. So they will definitely eat it. But all in all, I did get what I could get. It could have been better, but it was still an excellent game. My numbers for Demons and Warriors of Chaos stay the same, and honestly, they just make me feel good to look at. And then I like to just kind of look at the numbers of Chaos Dwarves and Orcs and Goblins that I've killed. The numbers just keep going up, and that makes me happy. And we can just take a minute to appreciate how many humans I have killed and sent to the great King Hotep. Move the High Elves over next to their neglected Dark Elf cousins. No changes here, I just like to look at the numbers. Yes, the Dead Wood Elves and Tomb Kings. Haven't run into those guys in a little while. I'd like to kill some more soon. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!